Hi everybody, I'm Paul from Arsenal LCG. I'm here to give you a brief update about the Kickstarter that I'm going to be launching in December of 2022, and I'm here to also show you some of the progress for the game that I have been making for the last 2 months when it comes to Arsenal LCG. For those of you that are uninitiated, at TCGCon, I have been touring with them for the last year and a half to bring my game to the masses, and I thought, what better place than Kickstarter to bring the game out for the entire world to be able to see. So today I'll be showing you some of the progress that I've made for the last 2 months when it comes to production of the game and the rebalances, as well as give you a brief overview of how the game works and what the intentions are with the Kickstarter. So I'll begin there. When it comes to the Kickstarter, I have, for the last year and a half, as mentioned before, toured around the United States with my game in tow. I've had great reviews from people that are willing to sit down and give it a try, but I will be approaching a brand new model as of TCGCon Houston in January. So the plan is to launch this Kickstarter, get some attention, and have everybody be able to finally be able to take on this brand new limitless card game in the form of Arsenal LCG. So, without further ado, these are some of the changes that I've made. So, let's move on. The cards for Arsenal are consistent of weapon cards, if you're not familiar. Weapon cards consist of having a offensive chain, essentially telling you how fast you can play the card, or a defensive chain, telling you how fast you can defend with the card, and a value on the opposite side that gave you the overall stats of the card. With these numbers in the corners, you were able to make combinations of attacks, and your cards were able to list the damage that they dealt to you or the charge that they netted you whenever you played the card. This was all conveyed very nicely in this former frame, but over the last 2 months, I have not only done a complete rebalance of the game entirely, however, it has also resulted in me wanting to change the overall framework, because since there was a rebalance, I might as well flex my muscles and make my cards look better than ever. So, without further ado, I give you the new frame. As you can tell, some of the artwork has also been completely retooled, but the same information is here, only cleaner, nicer, and more well put together overall. We also have some new information here, which is a type line for those that are colorblind that have a difficulty testing color, as the backgrounds of the cards were supposed to tell you what type of card it was. So now there's a clear and concise line of text that tells you what the cards are. There's also suits, which will be gone over in a future video, and a tier gem or tier shape that tells you the tier of the card, as this is important to gameplay mechanics. There's also been rebalances. Formerly, Quarterstaff was known as a defensive or all-arounder style thing without any positive advantage on either side. This has now been removed. In an effort to make the game more balanced overall, staff cards and staff users are now a more defensive archetype overall, allowing them to have more capability in a fight and able to push back opponents that play too aggressively. Axe cards have had a complete rebalance when it comes to their higher echelon of cards, but here I'm just featuring the new Hatchet card and how it is laid out on the new frame. There's also brand new cards that were never introduced before. In addition to the new balancing, at the end of the last TCGCon, I launched a brand new set of expansion cards that added 3 new weapon styles to the game. These 3 new weapon styles had a different number of cards, so in an effort to keep everything nice and consistent and even and symmetrical, I have added 3 brand new weapons to the original lineup of the 3 base primary weapons, swords, staves, and axes. So with Heavy Oak, Katana, and Broadaxe, you can now increase the overall gameplay of your former weapon styles. But moving on, we also had some mechanic changes. Anybody that is initiated to the game knows that we have had some issues when it comes to gems from the very beginning. This is due to, and I'll admit here, a very open attempt to change the mechanics of them right before launch in June of 2021. Unfortunately, this resulted in the complete unbalanced version being released to the public, and it required multiple erratas as well as several rule changes. So now we move on to what they were originally supposed to be, Gem cards are augments. They are supposed to augment weapons to give them new stats for combinations with these spirit number combinations. They were a risk versus reward strategy and have now been made where you can augment any weapon with a gem by simply placing it on top during the turn, allowing you to get card acceleration as well as resource acceleration and combination acceleration. These are all beneficial things, and I believe the new place for gem cards is very, very well established. Furthermore, we also had some panic stuff at the beginning of the last launch, which kind of stuck through. I had no idea where to go in the art direction when it came to flurry attacks, and since nothing had insects in it before, I figured I would just throw those in, and I had some nice artwork for that, but they have now been removed. Furthermore, flurry cards were also very difficult to read in the past. Players got confused. This did not convey the information as cleanly as I needed it to be. Essentially, with a flurry card, you were able to pay resource to be able to play extra cards in the next turn. Well, that has now been fixed. Not only is the art direction cleaned up now, where all of the flurry cards are based on constellations, but now it very clearly states you can pay 5 resources for 2+ extra cards in the next slot. This is indicated with the new framing. But last but not least, we have the artwork for the characters. The lore of the game has changed. Lots of things are moving in the background that I have not fully gotten around to yet. But I assure you, once the Kickstarter is ready to go, everything will be finalized and visible for the public. But this is Tagore. I scrambled right before the launch of the game and got my nephew to draw a lot of pictures for me very fast. And as much as I appreciate it, I have moved on to a new lore for the game, which required new art for the game. And Justin, I love you, but I have moved on, and with your approval, I have moved on to the new artwork. I have hired an artist to envision the game in a brand new light, and this is Tagore. There is new lore, and as you can see, that alligator is still there, and I promise you, he's on cards, and that will be featured in another video in the future. Furthermore, Novinus is here, and this is one of the first big conflicts in the story, so why wouldn't I include Novinus's human form as well? As you can tell with the new fighter cards, again, for the colorblind people out there, I have very blatantly shown all the different weapon types that the character can use in the top left corner, right here, crystal clear and easy to read. So, with all this being said, where am I planning on going with all this? The intention with the Kickstarter is to not only release this brand new version of the product to everybody out there, but it's also to allow me to have the ability to go around the United States and show more and more and more of this game to the people. I've already secured every single TCG Con for the remainder of this coming year, so that's already ready. What I'm trying to do with this is essentially allow people the benefit of finally being able to try this brand new card game, this brand new limitless card game, in their own hands. So, if you have not already checked it, check the TCG Con website. It's tcg-con.com. They have all the listed locations that they plan on going to for the next year, and I will be at each one, showing off Arsenal in an effort to be able to bring this game to the masses. The goals with the Kickstarters will clearly be stated, but I wanted to make this video to be able to bring this information out to the public for the first time, and I apologize for the delay. So, again, thank you very much for listening to my video, and please be ready in December to follow our Kickstarter and choose your weapon. Thank you very much.